Hi everybody, it's me. I'm in a pretty good mood. I just read some really funny stuff, so let's continue that little train. Of course, this will be like one video for you guys, so it's not the same thing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's time to read a story, and I'm excited about this one. I haven't read it, like, at all, but I'm excited because the user who posted this is Reddit user Rose Tint My World 77, and all I can think of now is the Rocky Horror Picture Show, so thank you for that. This is Enter the Neckbeard Nest. That name makes me very worried. Hi, Moonhorse. Hello. First of all, thank you for making such awesome content so frequently. Well, I do what I can, but thank you all for sending me wonderful stories so I can do that. I can't tell you how many times you've helped me get to sleep. Oh, well, I'm glad I could help. Second of all, I figured I'd pitch in. I want to share a story of a neckbeard nest where, on one fateful evening, I was blurst enough to spend a good chunk of my time. Oh boy! Here we go. A little bit of context. When I was in my undergrad, I joined a co-ed service fraternity. The organizations have certain rituals for taking in new members. Essentially, existing members take pledges under their wing and sponsor them throughout the entire induction process. These pledges are the little brother or sister to the existing member, who is a big or the big brother or sister. When I pledged, my big took two littles simultaneously. So the other little and I were like twins. We'll call my twin M. M and I got along really well and became great friends through the frat. So after we had been inducted as full brothers, we decided to take on littles of our own at the same time. This is kind of an expansive and time-consuming process because there are many traditions surrounding this stage in the brotherhood. One of the most grueling, tedious, and time-consuming rituals of all was sewing letters. Letters are just t-shirts or other articles of clothing with Greek letters on them that the pledges and brothers wear to represent the organization. And some frats would just order letters for their members, but it was traditional in our frat for the bigs to sew the letters by hand for their littles. Littles needed a decent supply of these letters because they were expected to wear them every time they were participating in a community service, and the requirement for that were pretty intense while they were pledging. So with this in mind, Em and I first procrastinated our asses off, then agreed that we would buckle down and mass-produce some letters the day before our little's first induction event. We both lived in a 6-man suite and dorm building, but his was a little more spacious than mine, so we decided that that was where we'd do our sewing. I asked him, "Are you sure your roommates are cool with us making a mess in the common room of the house for hours?" And he said, "Yeah, it's no problem. It'd probably be fine." Lord, if I only knew now what I know then. Lord, if I only knew what I was in for then. M was a nerd, but he was a very specific subset of nerd. M was your classic theater nerd. He had some general nerdy interests like D&D, but he was also socially well-adjusted and pleasant to be around. What I had yet to learn was that when selecting his suite mates, M had ended up with other nerd types. I'm sure you can see where this is going. Well, you can and you can't, because this is about to take some twists and turns. We got to his suite, and it seemed like no one was around. We laid out our shirts, threads, needles, fabric, etc., etc. Got to work tracing, cutting, ironing, and sewing as quickly as we could, as to make good time. After about an hour or so, the suite's front door was unlocked and opened. I turned around to thank whoever's coming home profusely for letting us use their space, but the person walking through the door was a skinny girl with mousy hair. I'm going to refer to her as S. M's door building was not co-ed, so this kind of took me by surprise. However, S was cordial. She greeted us and asked what we were up to, and eventually popped a squat in the common room with us to join in watching Phantom of the Opera on TV. When I say M's a theater nerd, I mean M was the quintessential theater nerd. The next person to enter the common room was a half-naked, very chunky, hairy dude. We'll call him H. He walked out of the bathroom with a towel wrapped around his waist. Instead of proceeding directly to his room to get dressed, he paused in the common space to greet us and see what we're doing in a sort of weird, haughty manner. "Oh, so is this your frat thing, Ib? I would never have time for something like that. It seems so fake, too. I'd much rather prefer to make friends through mutual hobbies rather than forced to interact with a bunch of random people just to be part of some dumb club. He seems charming. He kind of took an extended pause while he waited for us to react to his comment, and we didn't really have much to say. We'd heard this criticism before, and it's honestly a fair point to make about any frat, but from the looks of it, this guy's hobbies involved lots of Dorito munching. I stayed quiet, waited it out, internally pleading for this man to go put on some pants. The towel was a bit too small for the purpose it was serving. Yeesh. Even though he had just gotten out of the shower, he still carried a pungent old sock smell. I glanced over at S to see her reaction to this, and she was completely unfazed, eyes still glued to the television. Finally, he receded to his room, and we carried on sewing. Gradually, the rest of M's suite mates began to return home. The next two to come in were lanky and pungent, respectively, and I'll call them L and P. They were in the middle of a loud discussion about Nerf guns, and they crashed right through the door. They greeted M very curtly and continued their discussion. Upon hearing them return, H reappeared from his room, where he'd been making strange grunting sounds. Now fully dressed, but wielding a fucking sword. I believe it was some sort of replica, because I don't think he would have gotten away with having a real sword on campus, but nevertheless, why? Because, we soon overheard, his parents had sent him some money for groceries, but his meal plan was the most expensive option and he wasn't worried about running out, so he had ordered the sword off the internet instead. Now it was getting late. Em and I had been at work for hours. My back and eyes were aching. Em felt the same way, so we decided to take a break and grab a bite to eat. We put all our crafting supplies to the side and head out. Finally, I could ask Em in confidence what the deal was. So your, suite mates seem interesting. Em let out an exasperated sigh. I fucking hate it. This was a guy who was continually trying to make everyone laugh, super jovial and gregarious, and I had never seen him get like this. I mean, they're not bad people, they're just really unaware of how they come off. You'll see what I mean when it gets a little later. Oh, so it's going to get worse, apparently. When we returned to the suite, H, L, and P had switched off the movie in favor of Smash Bros. Whatever, it's their suite and their TV. We weren't exactly miffed. But it was the yelling that got super grating. Every time something happened in the game, it was like one of them just had to let the whole floor know. Also present was this girl who I recognized because she wore a fedora all over campus and aggressively recruited for the anime club in the student union. Oh! Now this chick was annoying. She was making a bunch of cringy sexual jokes, doing this weird fake laugh, and she was all over L, whom she was apparently dating. In a way that would be better saved for the bedroom. In fact, soon enough, she asked L if he would care to join her in the bedroom, as it was getting late. Hold up, babe, 2 more rounds, smash, he screamed. After the two of them had finally cleared out to make a series of yipping noises in their own room, as I began to hope I was finally free of PDA for the evening, it was just P and S left with M and I. Remember S? She'd been sitting silently in the corner the whole time. As we sat, sewing and occasionally holding quiet, brief conversations, P got down on his knees and sidled across the floor towards S. He parted her legs and started smooching on her. Apparently, they were also dating. You want to go to bed too? P asked. Did you brush your teeth yet? She returned. P visibly sulked. I don't wanna. Well, as soon as you brush your teeth, we can go to bed. No. What the hell is going on in this place? In that moment, I wondered to myself whether I might have died and gone to purgatory, for this surely wasn't the worst torment imaginable. But sitting there watching this girl have to coerce her boyfriend into dealing with his foul breath so she could stand to sleep in the same bed with him seemed like some form of divine punishment. And the icing on the cake, this whole godforsaken experience? Once P had dragged his feet to the bathroom, brushed his teeth, S and P retreated to the same room that L and Fedora Girl had gone into. That's right. P and L were roommates. They both shared twin beds with their girlfriends. At the same time. What the actual fuck? So bottom line, I don't know if I've adequately conveyed the unique brand of neckbeardiness that had run rampant in this suite. I think maybe you had to be there to grasp how fully ignorant of basic social norms these fellas and their girlfriends were. But remember, Im's place was a 6-person suite. Im told me later that his 2 other suite mates were relatively normal and pleasant guys who he had been excited to live with, but unfortunately, HP and L had scared them off, so they barely hung around the suite at all. Maybe I'm being too judgmental. All I know is I never want to have to see someone correct her partner's hygiene habits like she's his mother ever again. Oh boy, that's you know, I thought I was prepared for different levels of fucking weirdness, but nah, man, no. See, the most amazing thing I find about Neckbeard behavior is not what they do in their spare time, it's what happens when they manage to start up a relationship. Because when they start to actually get together with someone like that, things get super fucking weird. As you just heard. So, wow, dude. Wow. I am honestly blown away by this whole level of weird. That is kind of incredible. Honestly, I'm going to ask you right now, rose tint my world, keep me safe from all trouble and pain. Sorry, I had to. If you have more stories about these people, I would absolutely love to know more, because that was kind of amazing. Like, imagine having to be coerced into brushing your teeth. That is disgusting. That is fucking foul, man. That is just like, bruh, you gotta wash your ass. You gotta brush your teeth. That's just like, I don't know how they do this. I don't know how that's a thing. But also, this weird implication of the 4 of them just sharing a bed like that. I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope I read that wrong, but I'm starting to think I probably didn't. That's a something. That is a something. Thank you all for being here. If you have your own weird stories to send me, please do. You can send them to my subreddit at r/moonhorsestories. I will see them. If you'd like to support this channel, I have a Ko-Fi and I have a merch store. You can check out both of those. Also, make sure to do the YouTube thing with, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. I don't know if that even works anymore, but do it anyway. You know, hell with it. Let's just fuck the whole system up. Anyway, I love you all so very much. I will see you again soon. Holy crap. Goodbye, everybody.